These are the cool, green waters of the Atlantic. They're among the most productive in the world. From the nutrient-rich shallow bays along the coast to the deep offshore feeding grounds of endangered whales, this is a fruitful, diverse, and intriguing realm. For generations, these fertile waters have provided food and enjoyment for millions of people. Today, they offer a vast new world to savor and explore. During this program, we'll take you on a tour, an underwater tour, within the coastal waters of the Northeast. We'll explore shipwrecks with their fascinating variety of marine life. From New England's rocky shores to its vast expanse of barrier beach, these Northeast coastal waters cradle some of the most beautiful ecosystems in the world. We begin our journey in a typical New England bay. Here, countless acres of marsh grass create the fundamental nutrients for a thriving ecosystem. This area is one of the most productive habitats on Earth, where 1 acre of marsh grass can yield more food energy than 10 acres of wheat. In this temperate zone, extreme seasonal changes shape the environment of the coastal wildlife. As spring approaches and the daylight hours increase, the winter ice thaws, allowing these shallow waters to begin their gradual warming. It's a wake-up call for many resting animals and a warm welcome for the seasonal visitors. Now the plants can reach out for sunlight after lying encrusted in the ice and cold of winter. It's the arrival of spring in the Northeast that triggers this boost in productivity, creating a rapid turnover of nutrients. These biologically diverse areas, known as estuaries, are found all along the shores of the East Coast. They're shallow bodies of water fed by freshwater rivers and salt water from the sea. Long barrier beaches protect these places from the pounding surf of the Atlantic Ocean. The estuary is a remarkable transition zone between land and sea. It's a diverse area, teeming with life that's essential to our entire coastal ecosystem. Waterfowl thrive in these fertile waters. The North American swan sits quietly in the tall spartina grass on the edge of the marsh. Here, a snowy egret hunts for food along the shoals of the bay. Terns swarm aggressively to protect their young nesting in the dunes. These coastal estuaries are vital feeding grounds for both native and migratory birds. But it's below the shimmering surface of the bay where wonders truly take place. These nursery grounds with their tall grasses protect millions of young fish from the large predators just offshore. In these murky waters, over 2/3 of all the commercial fish caught off the East Coast will begin their lives. It is a nursery, a feeding ground, and a natural sanctuary. By day and night, divers can witness remarkable activity. A long-finned squid pauses when surprised by the camera's lights. A closer look reveals streaming waves of iridescent color, indicators of the squid's changing moods. Scientists study these beautiful creatures to learn more about the human nervous system. This school of squid glides gracefully into the darkness. There are many different species commonly found living on the sandy bottom. Crabs can be found all over the rocks scattered throughout the bay. This spider crab eats algae, sometimes attaching tiny pieces of the weed to its shell to use as a camouflage in order to blend in with its surroundings. In the estuary, one example of nature's perfection is the horseshoe crab. Although referred to as a crab, this ancient creature is actually more closely related to spiders. Its bizarre form has remained unchanged for over 300 million years. Today, this prehistoric animal has become extremely valuable to modern medicine. Doctors use the horseshoe crab's unique blood to test for pathogens affecting the human circulatory system. In addition, the horseshoe crab's 9 eyes have become practical models to better understand human vision. The North American lobster prowls these shallow waters every night, scavenging for food. Often, they'll lose a claw fighting with a rival lobster, but not to worry. The claw will soon be regenerated the next time the lobster sheds its outer shell, which juveniles experience several times a year. Some lobsters will live to be over 40 years old. Silversides are easy prey for nocturnal predators. This lobster waits in ambush. Quickly, it retreats for a sheltered burrow to feast. The blue-eyed bay scallop lays still on the muddy bottom. When startled, it quickly jets away with a clap of its shell. The abundance of marine life born in the estuary becomes an essential food source for larger predators who hug the shoreline hunting for food. Every fall, thousands of seals migrate south from the Gulf of Maine to take advantage of these bountiful resources. Here, along the sandy barrier beach in Massachusetts, a large population of harbor seals make their return every year. These enchanting creatures spend the winter eating and resting before returning to the Gulf of Maine for summer. From the playful harbor seals to the undulating marsh grasses, estuaries are spectacular areas accessible to anyone willing to explore them. These ecosystems perform a fundamental role in the entire marine environment of the East Coast. Rocky shores are synonymous with the rugged coast of northern New England. Here, towering waves from far-off storms pound the coastlines from Maine to Rhode Island. Under the foaming surf, algae resolutely anchors itself to the ocean floor, swaying and rolling with the currents. Many species have to attach themselves securely to the rocks so they can survive the strong surge of this high-energy zone. Beds of blue mussels are commonly found in this area. Starfish have hundreds of tiny tube feet used to creep along the bottom. Sea urchins graze on the algae covering the hard surfaces. The sea anemone uses its delicate tentacles to capture microscopic plankton floating in the movements of tidal currents. The flat, camouflaged body of the skate allows it to blend in effectively with its surroundings. A close relative of the shark, the skate is a cartilaginous fish, which means that it doesn't have any true bones. Scientists have recently discovered that animals like these are immune to cancerous tumors. For this reason, marine animals like the skate are considered a valuable tool in biomedical research for humans. Out here in deeper waters, a variety of organisms travel at the mercy of ocean currents. A giant cannonball jellyfish flexes its mantle to propel itself gracefully through the open waters. Looking like an alien spaceship, this delicate animal hides powerful stinging tentacles used to stun and capture its prey. The reproductive organs can be seen protected within its large, round bell. The body of the jellyfish is 95% water, and certain species can grow up to 8 feet in diameter, trailing 100-foot-long tentacles. This young common eel is found all along the East Coast. It begins its life hundreds of miles away, south of Bermuda in the Sargasso Sea. Each year, the mature eels return to their birthplace to spawn, and each year, a new generation catches a ride in the warm waters of the Gulf Stream back to the East Coast. Like an underwater river of warm water, the Gulf Stream carries many species north. For divers, this has become a unique experience. Animals like the spot-fin butterfly fish from the Caribbean journey along this thermal highway and flourish off the coast of the Northeast during the summer months. As winter approaches and the waters cool, this butterfly fish will certainly perish as it battles the strong current and cold waters. Although these tropical fish are not considered native in the Northeast, they are often seen in the late summer and fall along the inner coast. They provide a colorful addition to the East Coast diving experience and can be easily added to anyone's aquarium. Just offshore, but directly linked to the rich nursery areas of the coast, are the offshore fishing grounds. Their names reverberate through our maritime history: George's Bank, Muscle Shoals, and Stellwagen. From the whaling ships of Nantucket to the large net haulers of Point Judith, these fertile grounds have provided seafood for generations. But many ships have been lost while traveling these often dangerous waters. For centuries, cargo vessels, sailing schooners, fishing boats, and barges have become victims of violent storms, grounding themselves on rocky and sandy shoals or colliding with other ships during frequent banks of thick fog. No underwater excursion of the Northeast would be complete without a dive to one of these ghostly vestiges of former times. A fascinating place where the moldering bones of a once elegant vessel have become a biological oasis within a vast desert of ocean and sand. Kelp clings to the side of this wreck, reaching out for sunlight in the strong currents near the top of this artificial reef, a haven for marine life. Pollock patrol the wrecks. Scup school along the bottom. Offshore currents often carry jellyfish into the wreck site. A sea raven aggressively prowls the bottom. Often they'll inflate their bellies to appear larger, which acts as a deterrent for some would-be predators. The female lumpfish, commonly known for its exquisite caviar, is a peculiar animal. This fish has an unusual sucking disc on its underside which allows it to cling on to solid objects. The tautog, also known as blackfish, can be seen throughout the debris hunting for food. Tautogs have strong jaws and teeth, which they use to crush the hard shells of crabs and mussels. These determined fish have even been known to use their hard, bony foreheads to butt and crush crabs for dinner. One of the more common fish found throughout every corner of wreckage are the cunners, a relative of the tautog, but not nearly as appetizing. Flounder are seen cruising through the kelp. This summer flounder, or fluke, is a master of camouflage and can quickly change colors to match the surroundings. The fluke is also an important commercial species. The prize for the ugliest fish is reserved for the goosefish, also known as monkfish, which uses this appendage to lure its prey. This unattractive fish has become a favorite item in seafood markets and restaurants. But the more spectacular predators of the reef are the striped bass. These carnivores are the kings of their domain, an impressive sight for divers and a trophy for fishermen. Every spring, striped bass migrate north from their shallow spawning grounds in the upper Chesapeake Bay and Hudson River to New England's coastal waters for the summer. Off the coast of Rhode Island, spearfishing for bass has grown as a popular sport. With only a breath, the well-trained free diver can move silently and efficiently underwater for 1 to 3 minutes per dive. Free diving is one of the oldest and most selective forms of fishing still practiced throughout the world. Maintaining a keen eye and patience, the diver stalks his prey to select a fine catch. Still, the most popular method of sport fishing is with rod and reel. Due to increases in the legal size limits, striped bass populations have been growing steadily, a striking example of successful conservation and management efforts. Just 10 years ago, striped bass populations were so severely overfished, few people could share in the thrill of landing a large fish like this one. As our knowledge grows, we increase our ability to preserve this resource for the future, so that generations to come will be able to enjoy and respect these magnificent coastal waters, one of our last remaining frontiers.